Everybody, and welcome to the Microsoft Dynamics GP webinar for February 14th, 2017. Happy Valentine's Day. First off, I want to make sure that everybody can see the screen okay. So if there are any people with problems with audio or video, you can use the questions or the chat or speak up. So I'm going to wait 1 second. And I don't see anything here, so let's go ahead and keep on going. So our time today, we have 30 minutes, and we're going to start off with some brief introductions, talk a little bit about Microsoft Dynamics GP, then we'll spend a good solid 20 minutes with a live demonstration showing you some of the highlights of Microsoft Dynamics GP, and we'll have some time at the end for Q&A, and we'll also talk about pricing. I'll talk about the license types and what they cost. My name is George Stelb. I'm the sales manager here at Interdyne Artists. I've been working with accounting software for 25 years, either as an auditor or selling and implementing. Joining me this afternoon is Sean Dorward. He's one of our implementation consultants. He's been working with Microsoft Dynamics GP for almost 20 years. He's very heavily involved in the GP user group to the point where he is considered a Microsoft Dynamics GP all-star. So what is Microsoft Dynamics GP? If you've been out on the internet at all looking at Microsoft's site about their ERP and accounting software, I admit it can be a little confusing right now. So what I want to do first is talk about the Microsoft Dynamics product family. At the top you'll see Microsoft Dynamics 365. There's a lot of press and noise about this right now. So there's a business edition of Dynamics 365 which is entry level, designed for QuickBooks level companies. And then there's the Enterprise Edition, which is designed for large multinational organizations that competes with the SAPs and the Oracles of the world. So basically you have entry level and top level with Dynamics 365, but what's not part of Dynamics 365 is the small and medium business segment, which makes up the majority of companies in this country. So that's where we have Dynamics GP, Dynamics NAV, and Dynamics SL. What we're going to do today is take a look at Microsoft Dynamics GP. Now by small and medium business, usually companies start in the 10 to 20 million revenue range when they start to make sense for one of these solutions. Our clients range, most of them up to maybe 200–300 million in revenue. We do have some at 500 million all the way up to $1 billion. There's also a lot of complementary products. We'll talk a little bit about that today, but the focus will be on Dynamics GP. But Office 365, Power BI, Power Apps Flow, there's a lot of neat stuff. So stay tuned for some later webinars where we'll cover some of these additional add-ons. Microsoft Dynamics GP was started as Great Plains in the 1980s, acquired by Microsoft in the year 2000. We talked a little bit about the size and who it's appropriate for. There's also about 50,000 customers worldwide. There is a long-term development plan for Microsoft Dynamics GP. It's not going anywhere. I'll show you the roadmap on the next slide. And there's a very robust partner channel. That means it's easy to find support. Working with a partner, you decide you don't like them for some reason, not going to be hard to find someone else to help out. The GP functional areas, when we say enterprise resource planning, that means we can handle accounting, distribution, inventory, sales orders, purchasing, manufacturing, project accounting, time entry, project billing, customer relationship management. What Microsoft Dynamics GP has built in is focused around field service capabilities there. So if you provide, you have trucks, you send people out to do things, that's categorized under the CRM component of Microsoft Dynamics GP. And GP also has some pretty rich human resource capabilities, providing not just human resource management, but full-fledged payroll, fully operational in the United States and Canada. So the ISV community, this is another very important part of Microsoft Dynamics GP. ISV stands for Independent Software Vendor, and what these solutions do is complement and extend the out-of-the-box functionality. Microsoft Dynamics GP does a whole lot, as you saw on the prior slide, but it can't do everything. So that's where the community steps up to help out. Now, there's two types of solutions, really. There's industry solutions. Maybe you're a distributor and you need some advanced functionality, or you're a professional services organization. The list can go on. And there's also point solutions that might do one type of functionality that crosses industries. Those are very common. We usually include a couple of those on every deal we do. Examples are integrated e-commerce sites, electronic data interchange, integration with UPS, FedEx, USPS, time clock systems, credit card processing. There's a whole lot of options out there, and we're more than happy to learn about your requirements and make any recommendations as to what you might be should be taking a look at. So the roadmap. Microsoft continues to invest and release new functionality in Microsoft Dynamics GP. The current version is GP 2016 R2. That stands for Release 2. Some of the highlights of that latest release include enhanced integration capabilities with the OData, also integrating with Microsoft's Power BI, a very nice business intelligence tool. The home page got redesigned a little bit, and one of the more exciting things was the web client evolution. It was rewritten in HTML5, which helps it ensures interoperability amongst all different types of devices and platforms. And there was about 60 new features released in GP 2016 that were voted on by the user community. The next release is going to be GP 2018, expecting that sometimes later this year. Exact functionality still to be determined, but stay tuned. We'll be the first to let you know as soon as Microsoft releases that news. So with all of that, I want to pause real quick to see if there's any questions. Otherwise, I'm about to turn it over to Sean, and we're going to take a live look at Microsoft Dynamics GP. I don't see any questions coming in, Sean, so I am going to turn it over.
Excellent. So you should be seeing my GP home screen right now, correct?
Looks good.
Excellent. So good afternoon and happy Valentine's Day, everyone. Thank you for joining us. What you're seeing here is my Microsoft Dynamics GP home screen. And one of the things you might notice right away is the very familiar look and feel of all Microsoft products. So we have our toolbar at the top with some ribbon-like interaction, some shortcuts across the left-hand margin, and then some tab areas to get you from area to area, just like you would in Outlook, jumping from your Outlook, your inbox to your calendar, etc. And last but certainly not least is the body of our home page. These are all individual content boxes showing relevant information that you can organize and customize by individual users. All of this interaction is, as I mentioned, personalizable to the individual user's needs and likes. So we have here a to-do section, and I'll talk more about this in a moment. I call this our accountability section. We have a quick link section, which is just that, immediate action links to get you to areas in your system that you use frequently. So if you're frequently visiting your cash flow calendar, you can get to that just from one click. And again, these can be personalized and customized for each individual user. Here we have a procurement section. So if I need to come into GP and enter a purchase requisition, I can do that just from one click and begin immediately keying in my requisition. I can follow through a workflow approval process, and I'll show you more about that here in just a moment as well. Some other areas I have here are KPIs, or key performance indicators. These are built on the power of Microsoft SQL, and so right on my dashboard or my home screen, I can see some key performance indicators for my revenue, my cash position, and my expense detail. And again, these are customizable. We can take these and stack them in different organized manner, one column, two column, etc. I'm going to come back here and just talk a little bit about the accountability section. So here we have, you can see we have reminders that are coming from your real data in your financial software, tasks assigned to you, workflow tasks, and also workflow notifications. Across the top, these ribbon actions. So if I, for example, here I have general, and if I wanted to go to create a general journal entry, I could come into the financial module under transactions and choose general. Or, as I mentioned, I could have done that just from my home screen and gone to that window in just one click. So in each individual module, you see we have content boxes here as well. And these, just like on home screen, we can organize to our liking and we can customize. So for example, if I'm a user that doesn't necessarily need to visit setup, I can turn setup off. And no longer will that be there for me. So while we're in the financial module, I want to just come in and go into general journal entry. And I'm going to create a general journal entry. First thing you might notice here is, again, we have the ribbon and the common actions across the top. And I'm just going to tab through here and create a quick revenue accrual batch. Dynamics GP posts transactions at the transaction level or in a batch, making it easier and simpler for you to control the transactions that hit your GL. Here from the general journal entry, transaction entry, we can have a standard or a single entry or a reversing. Notice my reversing date here becomes available, and so since this is a revenue accrual, I'm going to go ahead and post this at the end of the month and reverse it automatically at the beginning of the next month so that I don't have to remember to do that. And I'm just going to type through here. And if I know my GL accounts, I can go ahead and type them in and type away my journal entry. Or I could look up the journal entry account number. And lastly, I wanted to just show you this nice integration with Microsoft Excel. So if you're like me and you keep track of your journal entries over in Excel throughout your month or your quarter or even your year, depending on the entry, rather than having to rekey that over in Dynamics GP, we can just simply copy that information and paste it into, whoops, I went way, way too far. It's not that big of a journal entry. Copy that and paste that into Dynamics GP. So I have to restart this real quick. And so that quick and easy, I've pasted all those lines into my journal entry. And you can see it even copied over some additional distribution references for me. I'm going to go ahead and save that and come back into my batch. So as I mentioned earlier on, Dynamics GP is integrated workflow. This can be turned on and off by section, and for my journal entries, I have that turned on. So I've gone ahead and pasted my revenue accrual, and I'm going to go ahead and submit that for approval. So now my accounting supervisor or my controller can now see my journal entry before I post it. The system is going to require it to be approved before I can post it. This is true for all sorts of areas, including employee transactions and including payables transactions. So as that works its way through the system, it's going to do a couple things. It's going to go ahead and update my home screen. Remember, I talked about that accountability section. And it's going to put that notification on my home screen and have a batch that needs to be approved. In addition to that, I have my email here. Let me open that. In addition, it's going to send off an email to the approver from my setup and allow that approver to view and preview the general transactions. Here's my entry. They can review that right from within the email. Good job. Sean did a good job. They can approve it right from within the email, or they can naturally go into the ERP Dynamics GP and approve it right from their accountability section. So I click that link from my accountability section, and now I can go ahead and approve that. What else is great about workflow, which it works in other areas as well, is an audit trail aspect. So I'm going to go ahead and approve that. I don't need to give it any sort of comment. And now that I've approved that batch, it can be posted to General Ledger. And I'm going to go ahead and do that. Just simple post. So now that I've gone ahead and done that, my accountability section is going to get updated and remove that task from my to-do section, making it easy for me to keep track of all of the things that I need to do and only focus on the things I need to do. So I don't have to go anywhere and inquire. Also, my accountability section here, my to-do section, we have reminders. So here I have customers over the credit limit. I'm just going to single click on customers over the credit limit. And this is going to take me to an in the product ad hoc querying tool called Smart List. And right away I'm given some information about those 7 customers that are over their credit limit. I can expand this and just show you the overwhelming amount of Smart Lists that come with the product. These automatically get loaded, and you can customize these to your liking by adding columns or combining them across areas. In addition, I could just simply take this list now and bring it into Excel, and I'm just going to go ahead and email this off to my credit manager for them to take a look at that list. I come back to GP, And so another nice thing about Smart List is it's very embedded in the product. So if I want to take a look at this one here, this Contoso, I can simply double click on that, go to the customer master record, come into the options tab, increase their credit limit because I have an approved increased document for them, which I'm now going to go ahead and attach right to that customer. I already have it attached, sorry about that. I'm just going to replace it. So that this approved credit limit lives with this customer record for me to, or anyone to inquire on if they're unsure as to why that credit limit was increased. So since this is looking right at our real data, now when I go to my home screen, I could see now that I have 6 customers over the credit limit. So just a little introduction as to how powerful the home screen can be for the individual user. And speaking of customers, I'm going to come over into sales transaction entry. Right from my home screen, show you how a sales transaction entry might work. A lot of options in here. We can create a quote, which can get promoted to an order or an invoice or the eventual or possible eventual return. I'm going to go ahead and just create an invoice here real quick. So I've got an invoice for my customer here, and they would like me to email them the invoice rather than me print it, post it, mail it, and wait for them to get it in the mail. So I'm just going to hit the email button. That's going to go ahead and spin off an email to this customer so that they can get that invoice as quickly as possible and hopefully reduce your time to pay, or their time to pay, pardon me. And so here's that email that just sent out to the customer. Naturally, you can add more body to this. So the customer gets your invoice, their invoice much, much faster. Great. So let's talk just a little bit. Here we got some receivables due, but I'm going to jump over into payables and show you a little bit about purchasing. I'm going to go into the payables transaction entry window. And much like on the journal entry that I showed you, we can create a, I'm just going to create a utility batch here. We can have workflow apply on payables transactions as well. So I just want to show you how easy it is to create an invoice. I'm just going to put my monthly utility here, pick my vendor, give it a document number and an amount. So I want to show you all throughout the system, the master records have the ability to have account defaults. So as soon as I pick that vendor, I don't have to worry about coming in and picking the appropriate distribution accounts. Much like I showed you on the customer level, on the invoice level, we can actually attach the invoice that we receive from our vendor. So I'm going to go ahead and attach the invoice. And then I'm going to click the wrong button. Then I'm going to go ahead and hit save and come out to my payables batch and submit that for approval as well. So now what's going to happen is it's going to follow through its predefined workflow and get to the eventual approver who can view that invoice or the edit document for my general journal transactions. And because I've sent that off, if I come to my home screen, I can now see that I have that payables batch that needs approval as well. Some inquiry aspects, once we get our information posted to General Ledger, I'm going to come back and show you financial card or General Ledger card. Right from within the General Ledger card, I can go immediately to see some summary information about that GL account. So for example, I'm going to look at period 3 and I'm going to drill into the transactions for March. And as you see, I automatically get the date filter applied. And here's my transaction list for me that I'm looking through when I'm doing my reconciliations. Here's that 2567 that was giving me some trouble. So I'm going to drill down on that and see that this is a receivables cash invoice. And I can actually, just in 2 or 3 clicks, be taken to the originating document and see any notes about it, and even see any documents that were attached to it as well. Another absolutely incredibly cool thing about Dynamics GP is the ability to use Excel for your import and exports of budgets. So let me come over here and go to budgets. I got a little bit of a lag there, sorry about that. So right from within the product, we can use Excel files to create and import budget data that we can use to report against, which is very, very nice. We can also post transactions against those budgets to help us with our cash flow. I clicked on this link over here called Excel Reports. These are refreshable Excel reports that come with the product that you can use over in Excel to look directly at your live data. So this is something that comes with the product out of the box, and this is a financial dashboard. These are all looking at your live data, allowing you to work in Excel rather than in the product and do all your pivot tables and analysis in Excel. Pre-built in this, here I've got a nice slider showing you some data changes dynamically there. Just wanted to make sure I introduced that to you. With that, I know I have so much more that I could talk about. I worry about time here, but I wanted to just make sure we point out that we have the ability to do electronic bank reconciliation. We incorporate with positive pay. Also have a very robust payroll module. Here's the employee maintenance window. And pardon me, another nice inquiry aspect is the payables, sales, and inventory all-in-one viewer. If you've ever had trouble researching transactions from perhaps the payment level all the way back to the invoice, the all-in-one viewer is the tool that's going to get you there. So here I'm researching on a particular payment, and I'm looking at this payment here, and just a single click on this payment, it's going to go ahead and filter out and show me the invoice that has been paid against. And a single click take me out to that particular transaction. So very quick introduction. George, I wanted to just see if there were any questions in the queue before I turn it back over to you.
No questions today. Quiet group. So
great.
With that, then we'll talk a little bit about pricing and licensing. Thank you, Sean.
Thank you, George.
So pricing and how to buy. First, let's talk about on-premise pricing. So Microsoft Dynamics GP, you can purchase it and install it on your own server, or it's available in a monthly, turnkey SaaS offering. There's 3 user types in Microsoft Dynamics GP. There's a full user, there's a limited user, and a self-serve user. An easy way to think about what these users do is a full user can do anything. It has full read and write throughout the whole system. A limited user basically can read anything in the system but has limited write capabilities. And those write capabilities are limited to things like entering a purchase requisition, entering time, those types of things an employee might do. And then at the bottom of the tier is the self-serve user. So basically a self-server has, they can just do those employee entry things like the requisitions and time entry. And it says limited read, but all they can read are their time entries and requisitions and things like that. So the self-serve user is definitely the most limited of those user types. Now, you combine the users with either the starter pack or the extended pack. So the starter pack includes a whole lot of functionality. It includes your financial accounting and your distribution. So we sell a whole lot of the starter pack. If you are a project-oriented business and need the project accounting module, or if you need manufacturing, then you want to take a look at the extended pack. So the extended pack is on top of the starter pack. So if you need it, if you are manufacturing, for example, you get the $5,000 starter pack plus $10,000 extended pack for a total of $15,000, and then you would add your users on top of that. Now, you do get 3 users with the starter pack, so don't forget that. I don't have that listed on this slide. Also, the users are concurrent for the full and the limited. So, if you had 5 user licenses, you could set up 20 users, but only 5 people could log in at the same time. Some of the other items that I have listed on here, a big one is the customization pack. That's what gives you your integration and customization tools. So unless you're just doing kind of a pretty isolated standalone instance, the customization pack is usually needed in most of the deals that we do. And you can see the user prices there. Then there's the annual enhancement at the bottom. So that you pay every year. So these software numbers you pay up front, and then it's 18% of whatever you paid up front every year, including year 1. The annual enhancement gets you many different things. It gets you access to the Microsoft Online customer website called Customer Source, where you can download product updates, and it entitles you to all the product updates as well. So when GP 2018 comes out, as long as your enhancement's current, all you got to do is go download it and install it, and then you're licensed for it. It also includes managed discussion groups, a knowledge base, e-learning, so there's a whole bunch that you do get for that annual enhancement. Now, all these numbers implementation services are additional, and that's the type of services that our company provides. That includes everything from data conversion to module setup and configuration to training. We also often do business process reviews. We'll look at your current business processes, make recommendations how they can be improved using the various Microsoft Dynamics software. Now, there is also subscription-based pricing and SaaS pricing for Microsoft Dynamics. Subscription pricing is the license only. You still have to either run it on your server or find someone to host it for you. And the SaaS pricing column is turnkey. All you need is a web browser, and you're off to the races. And you can see we have all the same components here with the starter pack, the extended pack, and limited self-serve users. So again, implementation services are additional. Now, you don't see the 18% here with the SaaS. That annual enhancement is bundled in there, but you are entitled to all of the updates. And with the full turnkey SaaS solution, those updates will be done for you. So, how to buy Microsoft Dynamics GP. Microsoft Dynamics GP is sold exclusively through Microsoft partners such as us. If you have any questions, if you want to talk, if you'd like a free trial, if you'd like to talk a little more details about the implementation process, if you'd like to describe your current situation and see if GP or maybe one of the other Dynamics products might be a good fit for you, we'd be happy to speak to you. And there's several different ways to contact us. You can visit our website at www.interdyneartist.com. You can email us at info@interdyneartist.com, or you can call us directly at 704-846-6750. So we're going to pause a minute to see if there are any questions to wrap things up. And Sean, I think we have a question-free day. One just came in. Is Smart List included? Smart List was the query tool that Sean showed. It's probably my favorite part of GP. And yes, it is included. And it also includes a tool that lets you create your own Smart List objects, which we could talk about at another session since we only have 1 minute left. Are there any more questions? No, I think we're good. So I appreciate everybody's time this afternoon. We're going to post this on our YouTube channel, and it will also be on our website. We should have that up by the end of the day. And we'll send an email out to everybody thanking you for your attendance. If you'd like to learn more, please don't hesitate to call or email. Have a great day, and again, happy Valentine's Day. Bye-bye.